Hey guys, welcome back to DMAC Customs YouTube channel. Dave here. Part 2 of the Area 51 custom console. If you watched the last video, you've seen things kind of went literally a little bit sideways last week on the construction of the console. So this week set about fixing all my mistakes that I did wrong. Most of them anyway, the important ones. It was coming along quite nicely until I realised I had everything kind of slightly on the piss, as in crooked. Never give up. It's my motto, unless it's just like really just too hard or a hassle. Then you can probably give up. Or if it's just a dumb idea in the first place, then you can probably give up. Not giving up on this console. Put a lot of time into it so far, and now I've got to fix all the stuff that I got wrong, and it's all part of it. If you're not getting shit wrong, you never know when you got something right or something like that. Or if you're not it up, I'm doing anything. Measure 4 times, cut 8 times kind of guy. I'm not even sure if finicking is a word. Yeah boy. Okay, I'm back. It's after work now. Did a little bit of changing stuff around. I managed to square up this front part. Also managed to butcher the side of it in the process, so that might either need replacing or some sort of artistic welding. And I've managed to kind of even up the angles of the fan angles. So now I've still got to try to figure out how to get this over here and straighten all this crap up. Now, I've straightened up the bars and whatnot, but I'm actually thinking I might need to unstitch pretty much all of this back stuff again now, and because I think one of the crossbars I put in over here is crooked, and that's what's kind of throwing out some of the other stuff maybe. So that's where I'm at. So to try and fix up my mess. It was going so well. I thought it was going so well, but then it literally went sideways that way. So still trying to decide whether I need to unpick it. There's a couple of bits I think definitely, and a few things I've still got to just sit there and figure out. But another idea I had was cutting off the rails off the back and seeing if I could pull it across, but I don't know whether that'll just make everything else totally even more out of whack, and I'll end up having to unpick it all anyway. So maybe that's how you do precision sheet metal work. I don't know. It's close. We'll find out. According to my calculations, I'm actually getting my centre back, but it's still got a little bit of a twisty thing going on in here. So I had to cut. I'll show you. I had to cut these off to get it to twist where I want it wanted it to twist to, and now I might need to shorten those a little bit and then put them back on. But I also did a quick measure from here to here on both sides, and it's out. So that's kind of what's throwing it and holding it out as well. So I might weld another couple of little bars in there just to hopefully square it up, keep it square, if you get what I'm saying. Other than that, I don't really know. I'm just trying to figure this thing out, but carry on. Okay, I think we've had some level of success at squaring up the armrest to the rest of it, sort of thing. Prior to this little endeavour of trying to straighten all my mucked up fabrication, I put a couple of marks on in the centre parts sort of thing, and from here to here we were like a good 10 mil out down here sort of thing, and so getting it back onto my line, it's still pulled a little bit over, but that's good enough for the girls we date. So I'm kind of pretty happy with that now. Happier. I wouldn't say I'm fully stoked yet, but happier. So now I just got to go around and finish kind of straightening up all the stuff that I made crooked by attaching it to a crooked frame and set up and that anyway. So and then I can carry on building the bloody thing. So there we have it. So a bit happier now. Now I've just got to kind of go back through and check these are all kind of squarish and whatnot, and hopefully they are. So that's my next step. But hopefully be able to sleep tonight, because I tell you, this has been playing on my mind how far out this little project had kind of got. And I think I know where it started. One thing is my bench has kind of got a ski jump thing happening on the end, and I probably shouldn't try to do accurate things on that bench. And the other is I think I welded something on crooked. I can't remember what it was now, and I thought that bit doesn't matter, but it possibly does. So lesson learned: if you don't want it crooked, don't weld it on crooked. Take it off and do it again. Hey guys, okay, well, it's not the next day, it's a couple of days later, and I'm back on the old console for the Area 51. Now, where did I leave off? I think I got it all squared away and managed to centre it up, get this bit back into line and whatnot. Now I've got to fix up. Now I'd butchered up that there and that there, but I'll have to figure out if I can make a clean weld or whether I have to cut more out of that again. But next up is this bit here. I don't know how I did it when I was put this piece in. This is one of the first bits I put in, the third bit I put in, I think, when I started tacking stuff together. But I managed to get it really warped and crooked, and I saw it was going crooked at the time, but it was going crooked down here, and I didn't even think to look up here and ascertain what was going on. So my plan is I'm going to cut this upper section out. I'll leave these sides in since they're all kind of pretty well dialed in, and I've got a new piece that I'm making to come in here, but I've changed the design a little bit, and I've put a little curvy thing which I curved around a bit of pipe stuff. And I put it in the vise and curved it around, then folded the sides up. And I've still got to trim this up and weld up the sort of butt weld the edges there. But I'm going to trim this out first, cut out this bit that's all crooked and wonky and stuff. Hopefully it doesn't put things out of whack again. Shouldn't, never say never, but yeah, so that's what I'm going to do now, is cut that out and then start fitting this piece up and put this away. Clean as you go. Okay, came out, a little bit of a fight, and managed to put a bit zip cut into the bit that I wanted to keep, so I'll have to weld that up and fix it now, but that's alright. It's going to have that's going to be covered in that anyway, but still got like 14,000 hours of welding to do on this thing, and then probably 30,000 hours worth of grinding to do on it. But yeah, got those bits out. Now I emptied my bin, by the way, proud of me. Now yeah, just got to finish making up this piece and fit it all up. Probably get that bit there tacked back down into place before I do this, just get it out of the way. So I'll do that first. Alrighty, so there's my little piece made up to go in there now. I just got to do all my final trim up stuff to actually get it to fit. Now this is where things go pear-shaped for me. I end up trimming something crooked, or this is where it goes sideways. So this is where I've got to really concentrate, so don't talk to me for a minute. Damn it. Okay, my battery going dead. Yeah. Okay, so we're nearly there, getting ready to start welding this tiny little piece back in. Sort of like an hour of trimming and filing and stuff, just to try and get it as accurate as possible, if there is such a thing in my domain. But there we have it. So don't worry about that being all crooked. I've still got to gonna have to cut in and round that off somewhat. I didn't bother doing it beforehand because I'd probably just never get that to line up, so I'm going to do that after the fact, probably with the die grinder and careful eye chrometering, and I've got to weld that up. Yeah, so we're just about there to start welding this, or tacking it in place. So just got to go through it and fully just double check, triple check, and then I'll tack a couple of places, then I can trim this excess off and fold that up and hopefully weld that in place. I wonder if I should trim there good. Yeah, figure it out anyway, so stay tuned. Okay, SD card got full, but back again now. Lucky for you guys. Hey, heart-stopping moment there. I thought I'd managed to warp it all again. I put my ruler across my centre points and I was looking at the wrong mark. So maybe just for future reference, I probably should cut off scrub off or sand off the old marks that I don't want. I've put it on that one instead of the centre. So I thought I'd got it 10mm out again, but I hadn't. So lucky for that. Some useless information there. Okay, so here we have it. My little correction. I actually found the crossbar that I'd welded in there right at the beginning of doing this frame. I have to go back and have a look through the footage because that was well crooked, and that contributed to throwing everything else off. So I don't know how that got past me. I've got a funny feeling it was supposed to be temporary, but it ended up being permanent. But then it ended up being crooked. Fixed now. I cut that off, unpicked this bit again for the third time, cut that off, moved it, straightened it up, checked it, and all that sort of stuff. So, oh my god, that's a big. Next up on the agenda is just a bunch of welding. I'm going to weld up and finish up all this, the internal stuff that I'm not going to be able to get to nicely once I start putting the sides and that on it. So that's my plan. I won't bother videoing heaps of that because that's just going to be lots of welding and grinding and then welding and grinding and welding and grinding. Yeah, hopefully it, what's going on there? Hopefully it all pans out and works out as it should. And then, yeah, I'll check back in once I've got that far. Cool. See you in a bit. Hey, been doing some welding and some grinding, but pretty much done the basic rough grind back. And while I was kind of, I don't know, in a weldy mood, I thought I'd sort of have a go at the sort of welding up these edges as well. So managed to like fusion weld most of that. It's just when I get like rods involved that's when things get kind of a bit messy, but so that makes it kind of heaps easier to kind of clean back. So hoping I'll be able to do the bulk of the welding that way without having to use heaps of filler rod, because it just makes it easier, less grinding, cleaner, hopefully less misses and pits and holes and porosity and all that kind of neat weldery stuff. But yeah, carry on. I'm going to carry on grinding this up and try and get it a bit nicer and that before we start making the sides. Hey, okay, so where is it, you ask? Well, it's in the car. I'm just having a bit of a clean up because I've made like this mega mess just to get to this stage, and it's getting to the point where I just can't work in it anymore. So clean up time, and then I can start on the sites, but I'll show you the where we're at. It's coming along, but man, there's a lot of finicking around to get it to where it is now. And it's like, I was hoping to be on to the sides today, but that's, it might happen. I might get started, but gonna have a clean up first anyway. Just put some tools away for a start. Stay tuned. I'm not even sure if finicking is a word. I was just thinking about it just now while I was putting tools away, and don't want to mislead you into bad England, alright? Okie dokie. Right, this is where we're at. Now I've got stuff welded in and kind of ground back. I can't really get anything in there. I haven't got anything small enough to get in there and kind of grind those back. Just those little bits of weld that have kind of come through where I kind of butchered it when I was picking this apart again, and I had to kind of fill it up with a bit, but I can't, yeah, just can't quite get anything in there to kind of finish it nice. So could just do a little skim of filler when we get to painting this and just fill it out a little bit. Same down here, I can't quite get into these parts here to clean those up. Anyone's got any cool suggestions? I could go and buy another one of these, but a different shape, like a little pointy one or something like that, which would probably help. That's as far as I'm going to take that for now. I'm going to start working on the sides. I might start with making a template and then see if both sides are the same. I suspect they're probably not, but hey, as long as I get them close, you can't see both sides at once, right? Sides. That's what I'm going to do now. Template. Make a template. Yeah, that'll do us. Okay, so right, I had a brainwave and remembered I had my template from right back at the beginning. Like, feels like months ago, but it was actually last weekend. So So I'm going to use this as my template to cut my sides out. Now I might leave it a little bit oversized because I think I should because I don't know, possibly the old I'm going to bead roll some, or put some sort of bead roll some stuff into the sides, and I don't want to. I'd rather be able to trim it than add to it, if that makes sense. Feels like lots of work. I wish I had the skills to be way more accurate and cut it once and away you go, but yeah, I'm sort of measure 4 times, cut 8 times kind of guy. So I'm going to trace up this as a template. I'm going to cut it into pieces though. I'm not going to do the whole side in one big piece, because if I cock it up, then I cocked up one big piece. So I'm going to might do the sides and might do them actually in 3 pieces, and just do the 2 bigger pieces, front and the back, and then do this little section through the middle. Sound like a plan? Hopefully. Strangely enough, when I lay this template on here, it doesn't really fit the same as it used to, but that's alright. This side doesn't really fit. This side here, this thing's smaller than the original template, and this here is just kind of a little smaller as well, but I'm going to cut my steel oversized anyway, so it'll be alright. I might trim this up. No, she's not bad. Here's my pen. Is that my good one? Over there. Yeah. See how much different it is from what it was before? I don't know. Anyway, I'll cut that out, cut out my sides, my 2 back end pieces, and check back in before we do some waaayyy stuff. As you might have figured out, I'm pretty new to this little mamma jamma. If you go back a few videos, you can sort of see the little modifications I sort of did to this to put this little wheel on, and did a straight line sort of bracket guide thing, but that's a bit hit and miss, or it could just be me a bit hit and miss with the old bead rolling. It's the first time I've actually used these. I think they're called tipping dies. My camera's a little crooked, but hopefully it'll come out alright. To do just that kind of like little swage in, step in type of scenario. Just did it quite shallow in one pass. If I do multiple passes, it's just gonna get ugly, like serious. So I'm just trying to take my time and take it careful. But yeah, I reckon it looks alright. Once it's all painted and probably a little bit of smoothing out, maybe there's going to be a little bit of smoothing out in general though, but on the rest of it, on all the welds and stuff. Just got to really decide, do I want the swagey thing sticking out or tucked in. Sticking out or tucked in? I'll have a think, then I'll make an executive decision. Hey, right, hang on. Just cleaning up. Hey, was trying to decide just now. I had to go and ask the boss what they reckon as well. Like, in my head when I was planning this out, I was always going to have this tucked in rather than pushed out. So that's the way we're going to go. Okay, so that'll go down that end, and then over here I may end up doing this in one piece now that I think about it, because I'm going to run a swage as well, but I'll have to do this one a little bit different because we're going to have some vents down over here. Looking, there's going to be some vent opening of some sort down here for the heater. You see what I'm saying? So if we have a swage come up, and then, you know, sort of, are we going to come like that and then have the swage there, or do we just have like a vent opening and then swage around it? Decisions. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do for that vent opening either. Put this up into there and just have another look to see whether I actually need to have anything too flash, or whether it can just be a hole, or if I could try and get tricky and maybe do some what do you call it? You know, where people do it to their bonnets and stuff, and sometimes their boots, which is a real mystery because the boot doesn't need any cooling, but, or trunk as some of you refer to it. I don't know. Anyway, let's get onto this. That's what I forgot to talk about. Just this, by having this way, and I've got these braces coming up in here, I'm going to have to grind a bit of a relief into these bars wherever there's swaging. So there might be a bit here, and I might have to grind a bit out of here, but definitely going to have to grind a bit out of here. So otherwise it'll sit up on there, and then I'll weld it and it'll pull it down, which will not really be ideal. So I've got marks and lines, grind out some depth out of there. It's only a couple of millimeters, and then might tack these on. Can only try. So, hey, temperatures are rising in the old garage this afternoon. Sometimes it's just, I get a little anxious when I'm doing something that I haven't really done before. But this is where we're at. I cut it a little bit oversized, but I was going to just trim it off flush, but I hammered a bit over on the top and it, hang on. It actually kind of like dropped in quite good, so I decided to hammer over that edge all the way. I'm probably going to regret it. I don't know why yet, but I just got a feeling. Maybe just probably some of my tacks are probably done the wrong way now, but by the time I've welded all this up and then spent 3 years bloody grinding it and stuff like that, it's probably not going to make a lot of difference. Yeah, cool. Got some stuff on the outside, so pretty stoked with that. Starting to take some sort of shape. A lot of this you won't actually see because the seats come in here anyway, so this bit here is going to be the bit that is going to be more visible from the footwell, you know, in the car. So anyway, that's where we're at. End of the day. Getting thirsty. Gonna go and have a beer now. Back tomorrow. Morning guys. Next day again. Just jumped ahead and, as suggested by one of you fellas, putting a splitter in the for directing the heat from the heater. So I wasn't going to. I was just going to kind of let nature take its course and just put a couple of little vents down here, but still not sure how I'm going to do that yet. But anyway, I was thinking about it more and more, and I thought I'll follow the advice. Can't remember the guy's name. Someone a few weeks back when we were doing something else suggested putting a splitter in there. So this is kind of what. Oh, jeez, this is the plan there. See, so like the heater box is here, and it has this flat that comes down like that, so it'll hit that and in theory direct the heatage off out to the side and out my little vent holes, whatever they may end up being. So next up, sides. Maybe have another clean up again. I don't know how I do it. I just get tools out and I just leave them everywhere, and then I have to have a clean up and start again. But yeah, so next step, sides. So I'm gonna get my template back out and see how this fits, and then cut some sides and do some bead rolling and swaging and start kind of welding them into place. We'll tack them to start with anyways. Okay, so little cleanup, but decided to make a new template for the sides, and I'm going to do it out of one piece because of the way I want to sort of swage down into that area, maybe. It's going to come down into around here, and that bit will just be flat, but for some reason my old template shrunk during the manufacturing process of the console. I don't really know what happened there, but anyway, make a new template. It's not that hard, and again, cool flip because I've got some. Okay, so we're in the experimental stages again of can I make hand formed louvers in the sides of these panels for the heater vent. I kind of want them fairly discreet. Like I could just find some little vent cover thing and screw it on or whatever, but I've been experimenting with hand forming just like louver vents, you know. I only need to put like 3 in each side, so they shouldn't be too much of an issue. It's just if I cock them up, I'm either then just going to have to cut a hole in the whole thing and find something else, or make whole new pieces. But I'm going to give it a shot. So I've made up my little jig, still a tad warm. I've marked out one piece and where I'm going to cut it and where I'm going to hand hammer these little vents in. So that'll be an experiment. I'll cut these and then we'll have a crack at it. Yeah. Okay. kind of works. It's not super accurate, but I think it'll be alright. Hopefully enough air flows through them. Actually, I could probably get some pliers and just maybe tilt that side up a little bit more as well, but don't know, might be right. Ah, it's just a little bit too big. Nah. Be right. There's a few little like hammer marks, but most of the time we give them a bit of a with the old, and then that should smooth them out. And then with a bit of high build primer or something, there's going to be plenty of filler and high build primer on this contraption anyway, so that'll do us, I reckon. Sweet. Next. Right, be back. Okay, side 2 done. That actually went really nice and easy. Still got the same hammer marks in there that I'll get in there with the little this, smooth them out a little bit, and then something in my eye. But yeah, now figure out what I'm doing with the swaging. If anyone's interested, that's what I used underneath to make those little things. I wouldn't probably do a whole bonnet or something with it because there's quite a lot of kind of finishing going to have to be done. But if you just wanted him to do a couple of little vents and something, then a couple of little bits of 8mm welded to some other shit, and I can't remember how far apart they were, about 12mm apart, 14mm apart, something like that. There you have it. I'll keep that in case I ever need to use it again. Okay, so that's those swages done. Managed to get that last one just slightly deeper than the first one, so that's alright. Can't only see one side at a time. So, alright, now the exciting stuff, fitting them up and actually getting them all tacked on to the actual console. Yeah boy! Into it. Hey, back again, had some lunch. Feeling much better now. Right, gonna start tacking this together. Gonna do one little trim there, and I'll tack these all up, and then I'm gonna just set about like doing 30,000 hours worth of welding and then grinding, and yeah, away we go. So onto the tiggulator again. Turn of the TIG. Let's do it. There's my helmet. Must have got a little bit close. My lens is warped on the old helmet. Oh, I sharpened up the tungsten. Nah, might be right for tacking. Right, where do we start? Final check. It's going to get trimmed up. One thing I forgot to do with this is on this side I've got a little relief cut for one of the heater pipes that's right up in here, and I was supposed to cut that out and then we're going to swage around it, but I forgot, so I'm just going to cut the relief and maybe fold it in a little bit, so it won't quite how I was planning it up there, but it'll still be good to go, I think. Yeah. Well, here we go. Man, this has been such a huge undertaking. There's way more work than I imagined. But this is where we're at. We're all tacked in. All the sides are all tacked on. And hammered all the edges round to a degree. Maybe. What was I going to say? Yeah, kind of ready to just start welding now. But what I was thinking, to avoid doing like flush welding the whole thing, I was thinking the underside, I might just come back through and just stitch it like heaps more stitches, so because that doesn't have to be finished, file finish type of thing. I just need it to not pop off and break and stuff, whereas the stuff on the top here, these edges and whatnot, they're all going to be fully welded and fully finished back the hard way, because I just want to do like as good as I can do with my skill set that I have, do like almost as close as I can get to a file finish on this stuff. I can't obviously in some places because I haven't already, but if I can get real close to it, that means there's less body filler has to go into it, and the less body filler the better, because I hate doing body filler. I'd rather weld and grind than do body filler for some reason. There you have it. So next up, 7 years of welding. Smoko. I've got to try not to overheat this thing and warp the buggery out of it again. So cheers. Well, that's pretty much most of it all welded up, except for all the bits that I probably missed, and I haven't done the underside and that as yet. I think I'm just gonna do some quick stitches in there with the MIG, because I'm just about out of shielding gas on the old Tigolator. So yeah, that's a lot of TIG welding, and usual story, sometimes it just goes by the book and other times it just goes south, put it that way. It just gets really, it just goes wrong. Okay, enough clowning around. If you want to make your stuff look a little bit better, give it a sand and a run over with a DA. It seems to sort of hide a whole bunch of sins until you get some glossy paint on it, then they probably will come back. Anyway, weld it up, ground back, a few little bits of poor welding and stuff like that where I've got little divots and stuff. I'm not going to bother chasing those around trying to plug them up with weld. They're shallow enough that hopefully a bit of high build primer or a little bit of glaze or something will plug those up. Tech tip, make sure you clean your steel really well before you try and TIG weld it. I made my usual amateur mistake and tried to rush ahead and give it a quick sand and then hook into it. By the time I sort of was fully welding it, I kind of realised I should have spent a bit more time cleaning up all the steel before I TIG weld it. This stuff was alright, but the round bar had a kind of coating of mill scale and surface rusty stuff on it, and I just gave it a quick sandy sand by hand, whereas I probably should have spent a bit more time on it cleaning it up to get the good clean steel to weld to. But on the upside, when you leave a little bit of rust and shit like that on the on your welding, your material that you're welding together, and you get some porosity in the weld and some pinholes and all that sort of stuff, it helps the filler stick into the steel. Like if you're putting some Bondo or bog or mud or whatever you want to call it, it gives it something to hang on to. So when you've got those little pinholes and stuff, it just hangs in there. But that's not the gospel. That's just, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so it's hot. Doesn't know whether it was coming or going this time of year. For us, it's sort of cold, and then it's hot, and then it's cold, and then it's hot, and then it's humid, and then it's raining, and then it's humider, and it's autumn. But yeah, anyway, that's beside the point. Where am I going with this? I don't know. Yeah, so TIG welded the majority of it, other than running around the hidden edges around here and down the bottom with the old Migolator and just giving it a few little zaps. I was going to weld it all the way home as I'd done the outside stuff, but I was kind of over it by the time I got that far, because it fought me a little bit. Yeah, like really, it'd be nice if I had a perfect file finish, and this is probably as good a file finish as I'm going to get for now. It's probably better than some of the ones I've done in the past, file finishes that is, but probably worse than some of the others I've done in the past as well. So, enough yabbering on. Yeah, let's have a look. So, this is my console. What do you think? Got my heater vents down here, and my splitter down here. Storage, back of the head unit will be in here, and wiring and stuff like that. Still going to make a piece that goes in here that'll be removable for, like, you know, the shifter, and I'll attach the boots and stuff for the shifter boot and the handbrake boot. Still got to make a lid and a hinge system and maybe a catch or just maybe a magnet or some shit. And I've got to figure out a system to mount it so it's bolted into the Area 51. Who would have thunk it? Can't just leave it sort of swinging around in the breeze, but check it out. Console sitting in position. Got the other seat, got one bolt holding it in place just so it doesn't fall backwards. Still a couple of things I've got to tweak on this to get it to sit right. It's sitting a bit high at the back still, which I think it's just a bit tight here, so I might actually snip these and push them out just a tad and re-weld them and make sure it's all squared up. Pretty straightforward little fix, as long as I get it and keep it square and tidy and stuff. But how's that look? Actually, I should go and sit in the passenger seat, the driver's seat there, and see what it feels like next to the accelerator pedal and stuff like that. See, I haven't done that, so I have to make sure there's enough sort of foot clearance for me to be able to get my big hoof in there, and oh, it should be all good. Look at that. Oh, smack my head. Yeah, oh, that's primo. It gives me even something to kind of lean my foot against. And then the heater vent, not that hose, but the heater vent is right there. So we'll have airflow out of there in theory. And your choice. Well guys, I'm going to leave it at that for this video, because this has turned into about, I don't know, 17 gazillion gigabytes of filming that I've now got to spend about a week trimming back into something that you guys might want to watch. As always, thanks for watching, really appreciate it, and any new subscribers that have come on, and the existing subscribers who haven't bailed out and left, thanks for sticking around. I know some of these little jobs on this car, on these projects, can be a little bit boring and not really that sort of exciting to watch, but probably a lot of it, to be fair. But I mean, I watched a guy sand a car on YouTube. I found it strange at the time, but I couldn't stop. But anyway, there's still more to go on this console. I've got to make a lid, I've got to figure out how to fit it, I've got to make the centerpiece. Still going to have to cut holes for the heat unit and stuff like that, but I've got to get the heat unit first, and I don't want to cut holes until I've got the one that I want, which I have to get sent over from America, which is where most of you fellas live who watch this. Maybe, possibly. It's not bad. First time I've ever made a console out of anything. Wood, steel, plastic, toilet paper, nothing. I've never done it before. So if you're wondering if you can do this sort of stuff, just go and do it, you know. It's hard. This was an absolute mission to do this strain. This was a mission that I totally underestimated how finicky and complex and time consuming it was going to be, but I'm pretty happy with the result, and I think it's going to come up really well with, you know, once painted, and I've got the other next level of pieces that I want to do for it, for the insert and doing the shifter boot, and the arms getting tired, the handbrake boot, the staff, you know, all of that. There's some dress up stuff going to go in there as well, so I reckon it'll be pretty cool when I get that far. But I've got to get this right and finished before I can get those pieces, because they're going to be pretty accurate, and I don't want to get them wrong. Don't want to get any of it wrong, but that still happens. So I've got to try a little bit harder for my accuracy on some of this stuff. But on the whole, this is coming along pretty good. There's a few sort of hiccups along the way, but got there in the end. So little celebration dance. I'm not really much of a dancer, so you probably figure that out. But yeah, so here we have it. Area 51 console. Underway. I won't say finished, it's still got a bit of work to go. Finish the lid. Gonna have to design a hinge. There's no way I'm gonna find a hinge. I should have bought a hinge system and built it around that, but no, I've got an idea for a hinge. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I'll show you what I've got in mind. Figure out how we're going to mount it. Got some ideas for that as well. So I'll show you when we get that far, see if they work. Anyway, thanks again for watching, and take it easy, and peace.